Welcome one, welcome all to episode 271 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, April 12th, 2025. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logun. Today we'll be discussing the Xbox digital-only showcase this year and the possibility of Banjo Kazooie, lol, and of course the Elder Scrolls Remake, hard lol at that one as well. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's been another week in gaming, and I feel like I am not resonating with the rest of the world on things. It's so bizarre. It's like everyone's having a stellar time, and that was me last week. And now I'm just kind of like,
Who's having a stellar time?
Well, people are playing South of Midnight. They're having a good time with Blueprints. There's like so like I've been trying to like, get connected up to the zeitgeist here, and I'm just not seeing eye to eye with him. And I'm like, is it me? Am I the one that's out of date? No, it must be the children.
Must be the children. That's right. Well, I hate to tell you, man. I have a lot of dissension with your opinions on South of Midnight. So that's going to be one of our topics today. Because
I'm not surprised.
I'm shocked, shooketh, and frustrated by this game. So it's definitely going to be Well,
there's not smashing and there's not superheroes. So I already know that this is going to be like this is going to be a hard game for you.
But that's the thing. This is all my kind of game. Let's get to it. We'll get to it. First, of course, it's good to see Cyania, of course, my buddy Beans in chat. X-Bacon Gaming, congrats on back-to-back wins with Warzone. Addy Dotune says they're about to take off for something. So I hope whatever it is, it goes well. Nisa Hauer in the chat. And, of course, Kevin Ainsworth, whom you were a guest on this past week. I enjoyed that episode. You were all types of silly. I thought that was fun. I enjoyed that episode. But let's see here. Logan, we do start with words of kindness. Would you like to start off this week? Would you like me to, my friend?
Doesn't matter to me. I can jump in. I wanted to shout out my buddy who is he just went from the private sector to the public sector within work and has been having a hell of a time with just like work in general. And I reached out to him the other day because I don't know if you know this or not, but Sea of Thieves is in a weird state. Like it's just in a bizarre state. And a lot of it has to do with the teams over at Rare, which I want to talk about when we start getting into the showcase stuff. But he's been like a really good guy. Like normally I chat with Achik, and Achik's kind of like my soundboard for ideas and thoughts and stuff like that. And I've been chatting with Dav, and Davram's been he's a host of Pirate Talk Radio, which is like the only other Sea of Thieves podcaster out there. And it's been really good to kind of like get back in touch with him, see how he's doing, check in, see how his health is and whatnot. And he just really kind of like brightened my day because he came back to me with like thoughts and critiques on my episodes that I don't get to usually have from like Keelhauled. Like I usually, like I'll put out ideas and people will tell me if the ideas are cool or not, or they won't say anything at all.
Right.
He'll actually come out and he'll say, hey, I thought this was good. I would have liked to see this as an idea as well, too. And I'm like, I love those discussions when you're chatting with someone and you have an idea, but somebody makes it better. Those are such good conversations. So I had some of those with him this week that really was just kind of like, oh, this is awesome. So shout out to him for being a stellar podcaster and really changing his formula up when it comes to doing content as well, too. So often we get like stuck in our rut.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not quite sure, like, do we need to do something to shift things up or make things better or worse? We're constantly like self-doubting like the process and whatnot. So, and he's changing things up from time to time. He's going more scripted on his podcast. And it's one of those like, that's it. It's so hard to kind of feel like, is it me or is it the algorithm kind of thing? So I really wanted to shout him out because I know as a fellow podcaster, you can appreciate the woes of trying to understand like the mental state of what to make a podcast about, how to make it, and like, is that the right way to go about things? Because I don't know.
I absolutely know what you mean. Anubis does that for me often. Gives me constructive, useful feedback, which helps so much, right? Like I don't need people complaining, telling me I'm terrible. I don't need people telling me, "Oh, it's God's gift to podcasting." Constructive feedback is so useful, and
Yep.
so I am grateful to that. Right off the bat, we got to give a shout out to Addy Dotune with a €20 super chat supporting us getting to SGF and you playing a spooky game, which I am all in favor for.
Yeah.
Would you like to know, my friend, that you are at 73% of your $200 goal to play a spooky game?
That's
And
a great place to stop.
Nope. I want the stretch goal to be Resident Evil 7. I just want you to know. That's what I want. I want your stretch goal to be Resident Evil 7 because
God.
you decided on what spooky game you're going to play, correct?
Yeah. I think for sure I want to do Dead Space just because that's one of those ones that I think a lot of people love, like the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm gonna have to sit down and force myself to play through a spooky game, like that's one that I think I can handle because at least they give me a gun. Whereas something like Resident Evil, I'm just running around like an idiot, like trying not to die, and that's gonna scare the crap out of me. But at least if I have a gun, I can have some sense of power.
No. I like this fearful thing. But I do want to read his super chat. He said, about to take off for a flight. Just wanted to say hi, Road to SGF. Fly safely, my friend. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, hopefully you're going somewhere fun and warm.
And Logan, the exact reason you described is why I want your stretch goal to be Resident Evil 7. You have no power. It's great. It's a really good game too. Like I don't want you playing bad games. Like it's not a jump scare only thing. Like it's a genuine good experience. I don't want you Slenderman jump scare every 2 seconds. That's not fun, you know?
No, there is one game that I can't remember the name of that is it's very scary as well, but it's like it's a PC only game for the time being, but it's one that you are a mortician and you have to do the embalming process for bodies at a morgue at night during a storm when everyone else is gone. And weird stuff happens, like lights turn off. You have to go turn on the light. You have to like go open doors, but things just like are creepily happening. Like the body will start talking to you like randomly and stuff. And it's like, you know, there's things like that is a straight up just like you are going to get creeped out kind of game. Like those games, I appreciate those for being spooky, but I kind of want to go towards a game that like I can't remember what the Alien game is that you have to hide in like lockers and stuff. That's another one of those ones. Isolation. Yeah. That's another one that it's like Dead Space is one that I would love to do because I think that Dead Space is just a cornerstone in like horror genre games. It's a really good one. But things like Alien Isolation and Resident Evil 7 are more of those ones where I'm like, okay, you have tasks and goals, but you're not really fighting the things that are going after you. You're just kind of trying to get away from them. Whereas at least with Dead Space, I feel like you can kind of fight them.
That's why I don't want you to. And I got bad news for you, my friend. The incredible and amazing Freight Conductor dropped a $20 super chat. It says Dead Space. That puts you at 82%. You are at 164 of your $200 goal right now. I love it. It makes me so happy. Well, I update that graphic. I'm going to download and upload that. My friend, I want to give a shout out to, and I'm changing names on this one. Oh, okay. I had a very difficult week. I saw somebody just not take responsibility for their actions, cause a lot of detriment to some human beings, and it was rough, and so it was not a fun time.
Are we going to be talking I didn't think we were going to be going into politics, but you really want to talk about him?
No, this is not politics. But it was just rough. It was rough to experience, rough to be a part of, rough to witness. And the person that I will shout out, I'm just going to call them J. Jonah Jameson for reasons unrelated to J. Jonah Jameson. And just say that that person continues to be an incredible role model, stalwart friend, and a wonderful support system. And so in times of real world frustration and watching, you know, when you deal with people and deal with pain and deal with people going through trauma and seeing people that are trying to help others, that person's been there for me for 10 plus years as we were trying to help somebody else. And that's difficult. So it was wonderful to have her in my corner and just be supportive. So there you go.
Kind of weird that
That's a darn shame, Logan. I hate to break it to you, but after the wonderful generosity of Addy Dotun and Freight Conductor, Clutch Kwando comes in and says, "You are now at 100% of your goal. You will now be playing Dead Space," which I'm thrilled for, because truly you deserve to be. It's a good game. You're gonna enjoy yourself.
All right.
That's
Start
fantastic. Start installing that, but you know what? I'm just gonna level with you, bud. I want a stretch goal of Resident Evil 7. I really want this to be a thing, but I don't want to put you. Can you agree to a stretch goal of Resident Evil 7? Would you do that? Is that a thing you could handle?
I don't know if I could handle Resident Evil 7, to be perfectly honest.
What if we gave you an hour? Like, just say, hey, an hour. Is that
an hour in Resident Evil 7?
Much? Is that too much?
I would do an hour in Resident Evil 7, and then I think that I would probably switch over to like Dead Space, because at least that one I feel like I could probably play through. But let me at least, I need to check and see like what's actually available on Game Pass.
Okay. No worries. I just want to throw that out there. I want to read Clutch Kwando's comment. Now he's at 100%. On a side note, have either of y'all ever played the finals? If not, it's an incredible first-person shooter that's worth checking out. Great question, Clutch Kwando. I have not played the finals. In fact, my good friend and brother-in-arms, Ainsley Bowden, continues to rave about it.
Mm-hmm.
But he also dissuades me because he talks about how competitive the finals is. And that is not something I enjoy. We play ranked in Marvel Rivals, and it's very competitive. And even then, sometimes I'm like, I just don't have the energy, the focus and I don't want to let my team down because ranked matters so much. So that's a concern. And so like, that's why I kind of stay away from it. Mm-hmm. The same could be said for COD and Fortnite and stuff. We play not friendly, whatever quick matches are often versus anything else. But that's just my take on that one. That's not to say I think it's a bad game. I just haven't played it. So
yeah. I've played a little bit when it first came out. The premise is fantastic. I think that it's one of those games that I think sets up kind of that repetitive jump into like extraction games, like first person extraction games. I think it does a great job of like saying like, okay, well, the arena is always going to change. Like level is always going to change because it is a show on a stage, like with a digital, like everything's created at the point of like the start of the match. So it's like everyone understands like the premise behind it is fantastic. I think that's probably one of the first games where they can sit there and tell you like, okay, we're going to change the level. And it's like, well, where's the suspension of disbelief going on? You know, like Call of Duty has like a campaign that takes you from place to place to place. Whereas this is like, no, this is a created level within an arena that is destructible. Like everything's destructible, and that's part of the tactic behind it as well, too. You know, if you want to try and funnel people from one area to another, and there's multiple ways to get around, easiest way to do that is start destroying the ways that they can go.
Correct.
So
yes.
You can force them into a specific direction. So really amazing game. Just don't ever get a chance to sit down and put some time into it just because of like other stuff that I'm playing and stuff. So, but I fully respect it for being as good of a game that it is. So that's a good shout. Finals is something that not a lot of people really talk about.
What real quick, buddy, what's the amount of stretch goal for you to play Resident Evil 7? I want to make sure I do right by you.
Well, I think it's been 50 for all of our stretch goals, hasn't it?
Is that a stretch goal? Okay. Gotcha. I'm just making sure I do the graphic right while I do that one. Finals, I would play it because to Clutch Kwando's comment, he said they've got a set of casual modes now. They just added casual TDM. I'm not opposed to it, but Marvel Rivals Season 2, Fortnite Season is about to arrive. It's supposed to have Star Wars stuff in it. And so, so it goes. Let's see. Mr. Badbit in the house says, say my name. Hello, Mr. Badbit. Good to see you.
I think that was in line with you talking about like the person that you want to shout out.
Oh, no, that's not him. I don't like him.
No, I know.
I don't like him.
I do want to say.
Oh, go ahead.
One of the things that always kind of surprises me is a lot of people. One of the conversations that we don't tend to have is an Xbox show, Halo. We don't really talk about Halo a whole lot, and
not much happening there. Not for real. Like if you want to talk HCS and stuff, but It's not
Well,
really
I think that's
happening.
kind of an interesting thing to think about. Like the year of our Lord 2025 for, Phil Spencer, you would expect Xbox fans to like the go-to for our shooters to be Halo, but it hasn't been for quite some time. And I think there's other shooters from Xbox that we want to actually play that are coming down the pike that we're more excited for. And it's interesting to me that with all the conversations about like pricing on games with Nintendo charging $80 for Mario Kart World and GTA 6 coming out and potentially costing $100 or $90, things like that. One of the conversations that we aren't having is the strong enough IP to justify that on Xbox's side. And when we hear things like people asking, are we playing the finals, or, we're jumping into Warzone or Marvel Rivals, like Halo just isn't in the conversation anymore. And it kind of feels like it is slowly turning into one of those dead IPs.
I don't think it's dead. I think it needs to be on proper hiatus because the show killed any momentum Halo had after Halo Infinite disappointed the masses. Now, to be very clear, I love Halo Infinite. I loved its campaign. I really enjoyed the multiplayer. I asked Joe the other day if we could play some Infinite, and he was hard pass. But I just don't think the joy and interest in Halo is there from the common person, which stinks because they absolutely should have done campaign DLC for that game. They should have gotten that production is an absolute mess and disappointment. And now they've got Call of Duty, Doom. Oh my gosh, there's one more. They have another shooter in there. Call of Duty and Doom are Gears. The focus will be on Gears. So they don't need to focus on Halo. There's no reason to dilute the interest in first person shooters anyway, despite how different they may be. And they need to get it right because goodness knows Infinite and the show were just so botched, and it sucks. And anybody that argues they weren't botched is forgetting that it's not a matter of how much you enjoyed it. It's a matter of comparative interest. Look at the Fallout show. Look at The Last of Us. Those are, look at Sonic the Hedgehog's movies and show combination. Look at the Super Mario Brothers movie. Those are well-made film and show adaptations of the IP that people were interested in en masse. Whereas with Halo, like you had a season 2 that was solid and a season 1 that was terrible. And really, you only got one episode that was truly Halo. I mean, they just embarrassed themselves with the fall of Reach and such. And so it's just so disappointing. That said, I think Halo has a chance to come back with arrivals onto Switch 2, with the Unreal Engine showcases of Halo. But they got to get it right, man. And thankfully, they're getting Doom right. Call of Duty is a powerhouse. And I just hope that they can do right with Gears of War because all intents and purposes, I really enjoyed that reveal at last year's showcase.
Yeah, it's just a shame. They really did kind of like me, and unfortunately, they very easily could have gone a lot. They could have been the 10-year thing that they wanted to, but they just don't. I don't think that they have that in them, unfortunately.
No.
So, but we got a little off topic though, so apologies there.
No, off topic to talk about Halo is not a bad thing. So it goes. X-Bacon Game Man has an interesting comment. Doom is going to be worth $100, but I have Game Pass. I wonder about that. I love Doom. You know me, like I love Doom. And I will say something that really cool happened that I didn't put in their notes, but I want to shout out because I will stand on the ground of saying the Doom 1 and 2 remake by Night Dive Studios is fantastic. And it has 2 campaigns that most people haven't played that are just wonderful. And a campaign made by John Romero himself called Sigil. Fantastic. All of those are really good. Legacy of Rust is just so awesome. I got to raise money for we got to do a bet with some of our podcasting buddies, and only Chipotle Bear from the Nerd Chat beat Legacy of Rust. And so I sent $10 to Extra Life in his name. But I digress. Sigil 2 was just added officially to that compilation. It had existed in the mod realm for it, but that's really cool because that's John Romero's handcrafted work, and essentially the 4th campaign in the old style Doom made by John Romero himself. So like that to me is really cool, and I'm just happy to see that's the case. And I love Doom, and so I'm going to be going back and playing Sigil 2 via that collection. So
Nice.
there you go. Yeah.
Which reminds me, actually, I need to make a donation for Extra Life for $10 because of the Switch pricing.
Yeah, you do, and I hate that because I was gonna be like, maybe the tariffs will get him out. No, it's not because of tariffs. It's Nintendo's greed and selfishness.
I mean,
So.
have you seen the? I mean, we'll get into it later on, but we'll definitely have to talk about like Digital Foundry's summations of the Switch 2's power in comparison to other products.
And for all, again, intents and purposes, that just seems to be my phrase today. It looks like the previews for the Switch 2 went very well. To see a lot of the content creators very much enjoying themselves, less bothered by the LCD screen than they expected to be. I enjoyed some of the coverage from fellow content creators of late. So props to them for one, getting that invite. That's an incredible opportunity, and I'm happy for them. Jealously happy. You know what I mean? Like, that's so cool, but like happy for them. So envious may be the right word. But I'm happy to see the Switch 2 isn't junk, because I had that worry. Now, when I say that, think back to the Wii's early days. You had developers. I even want to say it was Cliffy B, but it was somebody from high up.
Your comedian buddy.
But at the early days of Wii, they were calling it a piece of crap. It was two GameCubes duct taped together. What are we going to do with this? And like, they were all right in terms of power, processing, etc. But that Wii, struck the masses and obviously grew to tremendous popularity. And I think taught the industry a bit about optimization and getting good experiences out there. Which is cool, because I wonder if this Switch 2 won't have the same knock-on effect that might benefit the Xbox Series S and such.
Dude, honestly,
I don't think it matters anymore. I think the Xbox consoles are done, but
I know I was looking at console sales the other day, talking to Davram, speaking of, and we were like going through the list of like how many consoles each generation has sold for each one, and seeing like the number for the Xbox Series X and S be under the Xbox One was just so heartbreaking, dude. I was just like, really? This is like the one that was like going to fix the TV. How come?
Honestly, I think it's the catalog. They didn't have compelling software. Plain and simple. And because the hardware is amazing. I continue to say the Series S and X are fantastic pieces of hardware, incredibly well designed, and I truly adore them. It's the software. It was the software library, and now that they are not exclusive and they've got all these great titles, it is just a strange thing. But one thing I was talking with some very intelligent students of late was, it'll be really interesting 2 decades from now to look back at this window of time, the 2015s to 2025s, and examine economics, examine entertainment, examine politics and medical impacts of all of those things, because so much has changed in those realms. You went through an epidemic, you went through multiple American administrations that had political turmoil, same with British, the UK, what was the thing they called Brexit, and all of the knock-on effects in the technology world as a result of it. And so if we can make it that far, I think we'll have a really cool textbook case to look back on.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right. So let's see here. I do want to talk about South of Midnight, but before we do, I think it's our first topic, 24 minutes in, has to be the Xbox Digital Showcase that was announced. It's going to be taking place officially on Sunday, June 8th. It will be digital only. North American time will be 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard, not a real time, 12 p.m. CDT, don't know what that is, and 1 p.m. Eastern. So basically 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Pacific and Eastern. It'll be 6 p.m. in the UK and all these other times throughout. Bottom line, this is exciting because it's a double feature. Once again, last year they spotlighted COD. This year, the second feature will be on The Outer Worlds 2, which looks to be officially confirmed to be coming this year. Fascinating in and of itself. We have a showcase. It looks to be big, but there's no Xbox Fan Fest to go with it. Any red flags in that? I halfway feel yes, and halfway think I'm extremely biased because I wanted to be there with our buds. We'll be there for Summer Game Fest, but that doesn't mean we'll be in a theater. Don't know what's going on.
It is kind of bizarre. I think they are looking to just kind of shore up costs when it comes to this kind of thing. The fact that they're not having it like in person is really kind of bummer, because I feel like at that point, you know, it's I don't know, man. It's a weird thing for them to not get the funding for to be able to do the fan fest in person. Maybe there's other issues going on that they're concerned about. But to do it all digital just kind of says like this isn't nearly as important for them to have like a physical thing to show up for. I don't know. You went to last year's, right? Like with the actual like in-person thing. Did it feel like it was underwhelming, or did it feel like there wasn't enough representation in person there?
So there was an Xbox Fan Fest last year for anyone who's unfamiliar, and it looked like it was incredible. They had cool events for everybody. I got to be part of the media, but not go do interviews. So we were kind of this neat in between realm, but also just getting to observe everything. And I met Anubis there, and I saw fans in the theater because it was digital. It was digital last year. It wasn't a live event, but they were live events taking place for fans. The question remains now, with no fan event, will there be media events from Xbox where they are hosting interviews, where you're meeting developers? Because right now, Summer Game Fest is and only is play days, which you and I are fortunate to be going and attending and as a part of. So we'll be interviewing developers, seeing behind closed doors stuff, doing preview events. But Xbox is currently not doing that. You have to imagine that they will have some presence there, right? Especially with stuff that's coming out later this year. But to not have their own Xbox event is interesting. I've been talking to some wonderfully intelligent and informed people in that realm. That I think you would put higher than XEP in terms of access to things, right? Like they get to go and preview and write articles and stuff. And it sounds like this is a Jeff Keighley event, and Xbox is tacking on because there is simply no return on investment that is worthwhile at a time where they're trying to recoup costs, save monies, and their people are trepidatious about traveling to the United States. So that's what it sounds like is happening. But I really do hope that we get a chance to see some Xbox stuff there in person. I hope there is some element of surprise, and then people go hands-on. You have to imagine there would be, right? Like I would imagine the Paris Lilies and the IGNs and the gambit of high profile people do get to see Gears E-Day and interview developers. But to not have a fan fest, I do think is sad because people seem to love it. I know I loved it. And it's a bummer, man. It's kind of a bummer.
I was looking forward to it. I mean, I know that they said that they weren't going to have it in person and it was just going to be digital, and I'm like, oh, they heard I was coming. I understand now. It's finally happened. So Nubis writing in saying no fan fest is a red flag. It might be a political climate thing, but I'm not so sure. I personally, I think that that's something that it could be a possibility, but at the same time, I think that this is just whether or not they actually want to have just a fan fest for local people that are going to be in town when there's already the Summer Games Fest and people are probably going to be there for that. I think they're just looking to kind of tack on, like you said, to the Summer Games Fest, use their venue as the means of like communicating and getting in touch with people, because I think they already have other venues to be able to, or other avenues to be able to reach out to all these content creators and stuff. So it's a shame for the smaller teams that are coming in as media to be able to glad hand with execs and stuff to be able to like get your name in their pocket to be able to say like, hey, these are the people that are going to be up for interviews if we do an interview. But that's one of those things that it's like, I can understand why a company doesn't want to have to put forth that much logistical planning when it comes to these kind of things, because if they don't need it, then to me they potentially don't have as strong of a coming year that they want to have people like be riled up and excited for. You know, we have some really good games coming out, but I don't know that these games are like what people would consider Xbox tentpoles.
It's a fair call out, and I think it's really just a matter of questions surrounding it. Anubis noted in chat, and I was going to say also, we've heard they're doing something later in the year or bigger in-person events or maybe Gamescom related. I truly don't know, right?
Yeah.
And selfishly, summer's the best time for Luke Lore because I'm available, right? Like people keep asking if I'm going to PAX. I can't. That's right in testing time. People want me to go to the other PAX, I think it is. Well, that's the beginning of the school year. You know what I mean? Like I don't get to do that stuff, unfortunately. So I always hope for summer stuff, but we'll see what happens. I really do wonder, but you have to keep an eye on some things. That said, we did get a question from Todd Oxtra. This question was, I'm gonna put this into our chat here. The question is, the Xbox showcase is announced and Outer Worlds 2 is getting a big push. What do you want to see from Xbox? So what do we want to see at this showcase? I think I'd be hard pressed to say anything other than Gears of War E-Day. I know I want to see Gears of War make a return to the mainstream. I know I want to see State of Decay 3. It's been a long enough time, and we've definitely heard, to your point on the recent Project X talk, that this game was announced and we haven't seen much, and they're just recently in the last 2 years ramping up production. Like what's going on here? I have questions around. So I want to see those two games for sure. And I'd like some questions answered. What is happening with the Activision catalog? What is going to happen with those titles? I want that question answered. I think we are well past the time to see the answer to those questions. And I would love to know what's happening with some of the other titles that are headed to other platforms as well. What's going to Switch to? What's not? I liked Phil Spencer's messaging recently saying like, we're just going to stop. We're going to stop pretending like our games aren't going there. Just here. Like if it's coming to this platform, our customers need to know. We should have done that with Doom last year. The timing wasn't right. Here we go. Yes, I do want to see PlayStation and Switch 2 at the end of those trailers, because effectively Xbox has bowed out of this battle for hardware. Fine, let's celebrate those games and answer as many questions as possible. So that's, I think, the quick answer to that. But I do have more. I just don't want to keep talking. Your turn.
No, yeah, I feel you on that one because, like I talked about on Project X Talk this week. State of Decay 3 is one of those ones that has really only been like it's interesting because it was only a trailer. It was just a trailer, just kind of announcing that was the game that was going to be. And then I think it was a couple of years ago, they switched over from supporting State of Decay 2 to moving on to production for State of Decay 3. And it makes me wonder, like, were they further along in that team that was working on supporting State of Decay 2 was just now going to swap over and help support the other teams or other team members that were working on? Like, so much in question, because I know for a fact that the original Outer Worlds 2 trailer was just a trailer. They didn't have anything in production yet. They knew what they wanted to do, but they didn't have like anything actually in product. So the fact that Outer Worlds 2 is coming out so soon really made me question, like, how much different is this game going to be from the original? And looking at the 11 minutes that came out recently from IGN, it does look better. It does look like it's got a much better aesthetic. It looks like the UI has been completely overhauled. You still have the companion system, which will be interesting to see, like if you get new companions or old companions. And realistically, that game is going to be good. Outer Worlds is a fantastic game. As long as the writing is on par with what the original was, I'm really looking forward to finding out more about that. I'm just curious if that's something that they're going to have in the showcase, knowing that we already have like an idea that this is coming out this year. We've already seen some details about that coming out. So I suspect Outer Worlds 2. I suspect we will finally get like a launch frame, like a 2026 Q1 for Fable. I would love to have more of that, because we did get a little bit more teases of Fable recently, and the stuff that they showed off in that was absolutely beautiful. Like, dude, Fable, like the Forza Horizon team, they know what to make an atmosphere feel like, and I really want to check that out. But then also to that point, bro, Rare. What is Rare doing? Like Rare is just it's like pumping out money for Sea of Thieves, but they've been making Everwild for the last 7 years, and it's kind of wild to think that they actually no. I think it's been 8 years now because they started production in what was it 2017, and they've had to redo a lot. They've had to like reboot the game at one point because they weren't quite sure like where the fun was. But Everwild is on the docket. Like that was an announced game back in 2019.
Is it on the docket officially?
Yeah.
Well,
not with the showcase. I'm saying like it's on the list of games that we know about that they haven't talked about. Sorry.
I think you're good.
I want to know more about Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark is one of those games that it looks like they're trying to evolve the first person shooter, and that is something that I think is sorely needed because we're used to kind of what the standard is. You look at like Doom Dark Ages, and it's like, yeah, they're changing up the formula a bit because it's not just run and gun. It's not just like jumping and double jumping and traversal and stuff. They're like, hey, you get a shield and 3 melee weapons, and that's what you get to play around with most of the time. Like you'll still have guns, but we're changing up how we do first person shooter. And I think Perfect Dark is going to be doing that a lot. And that is absolutely like something that I think that they could take to the bank and say like, this is how first person action adventure games should be done. Kind of in the same way that Indiana Jones changed things up by giving you a little bit of third person when you were climbing around kind of thing.
You bring up a lot of good points. I'm going to loop in my South of Midnight comments because I think it's related.
Okay.
Because I'm also concerned that I'm a little cranky because it has been a difficult week. So you tell me, because this is my first experience with South of Midnight this week.
Yeah.
And I just finished chapter 4, and all I can think is this game is just okay. Just okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the platforming. The combat is weak and slow, and I'm not enjoying that. I think the music is fine. I really love the atmosphere. I love Hazel. I almost cried at the story of Benji, which I will not share. Like and I'm not a crier in games. I got very emotional with Benji's story. But I think the game is just okay right now, but I might be in a bad state of mind. So I want to acknowledge that. But the reason I bring that up is after being through chapter 4 in South of Midnight, loving Avowed, but also recognizing its scale, seeing Doom the Dark Ages further out, but then looking back and seeing Redfall and Starfield Shattered Space and Towerborn. And I'm just like, this can't be our best. And Compulsion put out We Happy Few in, according to a quick Google search, 2018.
Yep.
And it's like, this took 7 years to make South of Midnight. That worries me because then when we look at what you were saying with Everwild, it's like, ooh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I guess maybe I'm just having a bad week, bad mood. But if Everwild is what we're looking forward to and they had to reboot, if it's a scale of South of Midnight, that's not good enough. If it's Outer Worlds 1 or Outer Worlds 1 or Avowed, I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like dope. If we're looking at Call of Duty or Doom, dope in terms of quality, mind you. Recognizing, of course, these teams are not the same sizes and stuff. I'm just thinking Xbox first party and showcased because I was really excited for South of Midnight, and I feel like I stubbed my toe. I'm like, really? One more caveat, and then I'll let you jump in. I just came off of 90 hours in Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And beating the first Berserker Kazan demo, which I loved. I skipped every single story beat because it was stupid. But I really did love the combat.
Hold on. I need to add a little qualifier here. So first Berserker Kazan, you loved it and it's got great combat.
Loved the combat.
But you skipped every story beat. You're going into South of Midnight and you're hating the combat, which is arguably the weakest point of the game, and you're not quite enthused with the story. I feel like Luke Lohr is just maybe not a story guy. I think Luke Lohr
I love story in games. Yeah, absolutely. Loved Avowed, loved Cyberpunk, loved a number of different games. Like I'm hard pressed to just give you lists, but like I love story in games. I think I'm having a bad week and I'm not liking South of Midnight. But that combat's bad.
I remember you talking about Assassin's Creed Shadow and how you were having a hard time because there was a lot of narration in there at the
So
very
I think
beginning.
that's a false parallel, because the Assassin's Creed story is fantastic. I called that out in my review,
Mhm,
called it out in my preview, but there is so much of it. When
mhm.
when my console goes to sleep mode, or whatever the like don't burn your OLED mode is,
Yeah.
like, bro, like, come on, Kojima level. I think that's the difference, because the meme is like Luke Lore doesn't like story. No, not at all. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not interested in JRPGs or that aesthetic. So that's what Kazan doesn't do it for me, but the combat's so good.
Mhm,
So I think that's what's happening, is that like you're getting two narratives about story, but
mhm.
it
I'm just
doesn't.
trying to draw parallels. Yeah, like you said, I'm just trying to connect the dots and see like,
Sure.
okay, is it that you're not interested because you're skipping story in
Kazan.
First Berserker Kazan. You're talking about how there's too much narrative going on in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and you're wanting stronger combat for South of Midnight, and
Mhm.
it all just kind of pushes me to this little like pool of water that says Luke Lore likes action.
Oh, Luke Lore does like action. With you on that.
Mhm.
But Shadows is a lot of story. Like, how much time have you put in Shadows? Because I know you get the review and stuff.
I
After,
think I've gotten, because the South of Midnight stopped me. I think I've gotten 7 or 8 hours into it. I'm
so I put
still,
90 in,
yeah,
like 9, and there's a lot of cutscenes,
yeah.
and they're very good. They're
Mhm.
very, and I enjoyed it. I'm just saying, there's a lot. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Like, I don't like
Yeah.
having to wake my console up or move my joystick just to keep watching. That's the
Okay.
difference. Kazan is, I have no interest in JRPGs or Japanese aesthetics. That's not an interest for me.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Kazan. So I think we
Mhm.
have two coincidentally story related thoughts. Um,
Well, the the narrative being spun here is definitely interesting to me. I have to ask because I don't quite remember the story beats for South of Midnight based on chapters, but
mhm.
have you completed Two Toed Tom?
No, I have. I'm not going to be spoilery. I
You
have
jumped into
stopped.
it?
I have stopped a tree from feeling trauma,
Yeah.
and I have rang a church bell to grab the attention of an alligator.
Okay.
Does that give you
It
ballpark?
does. I can't remember if the characters involved with Two Toed Tom have been introduced at this point yet or not.
I've not heard of a two-toed Tom yet.
Okay.
So,
So that's where you're leading into, but
mm,
I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts once you get past that because much like you, like I'm in the same boat but with a different game where there's a lot of accolades and everyone really loves it, but I'm not feeling it.
mm-hmm,
So I would say it'd be curious to hear what your thoughts are post Two Toed Tom and
mm-hmm,
that story leading into because personally for me, the first 4 stories or the first, I would say the first 3 stories are really good. And then it kind of wanes, except for
mm-hmm,
like one really good spike in the middle of the last half of the game.
mm-hmm,
And then after that, I was like, okay, it's still good, but it's not nearly as emotionally compelling
mm-hmm.
as the first half of the game.
Okay.
Which I feel like because I feel like Benji is like one of the stories that really just it actually caused like me to be emotional. And
Mm-hmm.
then going into Two Toed Tom, I was like, man, I cannot believe Compulsion is gutsy enough to address these kind of stories. Like these are
Mm-hmm.
stories of things
Pain.
where it's like these are conversations that you don't have in public. These are conversations you have like in private with people where no one's going to misconstrue what's going on.
Right. Yeah, because it's so easy to misspeak on those topics. Um,
Yeah.
but I am anxious, truly, to finish the game because I am liking a lot about it. I just don't. I don't think that it elevated the bar for Xbox first party titles in any way. Whereas I think Avowed did. Um, so
Really?
I worry about
Okay.
it. But that's I think that's where I'm running to. But I want to be very clear. Having a bad week is not a great way to play a game that is meant to be appreciated not for its gameplay,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I'm going in with a fresh mindset soon, and I'm gonna pick up chapter 5 and go through the rest of the game in a better state
Yeah.
because I don't want to. I really do like Hazel. I love the music. I love the Southern Gothic vibe. I just want to be in a better mindset. And I think that goes for a lot of people with games. We sometimes don't take into account where we are with the game.
Dude, that's why I still have yet to play The Last of Us. Because when I was going to pick up The Last of Us was when we were starting lockdown for COVID. And guess what kind of game is not good to be playing during the middle of a pandemic? A pandemic game.
A pandemic game.
I started The Last of Us, and I was just like, oh, this is heavy. This is a little too close to home. I don't think I can play this right now. And I put it down. So it's one of those things. It's like, dude, I cannot. I don't know that I can actually do that. But I'm very curious.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I am very curious to kind of like hear what your thoughts are at the end of South of Midnight, because that's one of those things where the I don't think that this is going to be a game that I would say defines what Xbox is. And I'm surprised you say that that Avowed elevates it, because I feel like Avowed does a really good job of doing the status quo in a world that not many people really have ever explored. But the combat and the feel to me is on par with most other Western RPGs. It's just a lot more streamlined and accessible than I think most others are willing to go, because most others would rather go in deeper into the systems. Whereas I didn't find that with Avowed. I felt like they simplified things to make it easier to or ease the burden of what an RPG typically is. But I don't think that it was anything that was really like elevating the space. To Ty Guy Travis's point, there are a lot of bears. So, but I, and that's me coming at the perspective is like, I didn't think that the bears were that like that was an issue to me. But when
you look at Starfield,
yeah,
Starfield is a master of none, and I got a lot of hours in Starfield.
Yeah,
master of none though. And then you look at Avowed, it reduced its scope, and I think it mastered combat. Truly, absolutely mastered first person combat for fantasy games. So that I think is the difference. I think it elevates in that perspective. But maybe that's just I have a more narrow scope of games.
It's interesting to think about, because I do feel like Avowed felt good with the way their first person worked. But there were definitely things missing in that game that I think other games from that studio have done really well. Like companions, I think are maybe better in Avowed compared to Outer Worlds, but reputations and dialogue is better in Outer Worlds compared to Avowed. But it's all going to be, at that point, it's all going to be kind of personal opinion as we play through these ones. It's a shame that South of Midnight isn't resonating for you, because as someone who championed Hellblade 2, I'm surprised that this game isn't plucking that same string, because it is very much in the same vein in my mind of like, okay, this is a game dedicated to telling a story and weaving, spelling a narrative out for people with as little resistance as possible, so that you can actually appreciate the nature of where they're coming from when building this game. So it's very curious to me that this one just isn't hitting as strongly as you expected. I'm feeling the same thing currently with Blueprints that just came to Game Pass, day one Game Pass on this one. And I'm very surprised that this game is getting such high accolades. Like the fact that this is getting a 90 on Metacritic and OpenCritic to me is surprising, because when I look at Blueprints, which for those that don't know, if you don't mind me going into it,
please. This is getting a lot of attention, right? Didn't Schreier put it on the map for people? Is that right?
A lot of people are talking about this. Yeah, they had it in a showcase a while ago, but it's the idea of a boy who's a rich uncle with an eccentric house. Is a roguelike adventure, but he's going in because he has to claim his inheritance from his dead uncle. It's a thing where there's a grid of rooms that's 5 across, 9 deep, and you have to get to the top, the most north, and it equates out to 45 rooms. And you have to find the 46th room to be able to claim the inheritance, the hidden 46th room, right? As you were going, it is a puzzle game, but it is also a roguelike game. You get 1 day to be able to try and find the 46th rooms. Eddie, Adele in chat is asking if this is Edith Finch. No, Edith Finch is a is a walking simulator to tell a narrative about the story of the Finch family. This is very much a roguelike where you have to try and like every time you open a door, you get 3 choices for what that room is going to be. You don't know what the room will be until you actually click open the door, right? That room will have puzzle pieces, items, keys, gems, things to help you progress, right? And you have to try and work out the mechanics as you move forward throughout the game to try and understand, like, okay, I have a finite amount of steps, because every time you step into a room, it takes away one of your initial 50 steps for the day. Once you run out of steps, day's done. You got to restart from scratch. But you take with you the knowledge of what's going on. And as I've been playing through this, I've realized like the accolades for this are not that dissimilar from something like Returnal. Like Returnal did a fantastic job of being a roguelike. You learn the bosses, you learn the patterns, you go from room to room till you find like weapons to help go. Whatever weapons you find are going to be the ones that help you try and like determine how far you're going to get. Sometimes you get bad RNG, sometimes you get good RNG, and you just move your way through the game until you complete it based off of those roguelike elements. With Blueprints, I see the same formula. It is you going through each room, finding items. Sometimes you get good rooms, sometimes you get bad rooms. Sometimes you can manipulate those to try and give you something better, or you can re-roll them, or there's ways to try and like mitigate some of the RNG involved with this. But there's not really a soundtrack. There's no dialogue. There's no combat. It is purely just a game where you're just going from room to room to room to try and find out more about the mansion and the family, as you were kind of like collecting things and trying to find permanence within a way to try and like get further and further. Because as you get deeper and deeper into the levels, you start running into issues where doors are locked, you need key cards, things like that. And it's just not very compelling to me. Like I see that this is like, it's a good puzzler, it's a well-made indie, but I'm getting the sense that indie fans are jumping onto this because it's this year's Balatro, and they want to have like another Balatro for like 2025. And this one is just a competent enough one to be able to do that. I just don't see anything on the same level as like Balatro, where Balatro completely changed up the formula with how people take on poker games. This is literally just a mansion where each room is going to be its own little puzzle, and you just piece those together as you move throughout the mansion to try and figure out like if you're going to be able to find that 46th room.
So, Cliff Notes version recommended?
No, not from me.
All right. How long did you play it before you came to that conclusion?
Well, I haven't finished it. I've got 6.5 hours into it. But
not a recommendation overall.
No, it's boring. Okay. I get what it's trying to do. I've already found some of the stuff that's like outside of the layers, and like even Silkenit's trying to defend this game here in chat here. He says on the surface level, yes, but there's so much more layers. Silkenit, I've seen some of the layers. It's still not impressive. I'm gonna be honest with you, dude. And I don't even want to spoil it, because there's things that some of those things I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that they did actually, like, they surprised me in some ways. But at this point, man, like it's unless you are a diehard for this, which it's definitely going to be up people's alleys, man. It's definitely going to be something that people want to jump into. I don't, it's like trying to convince someone who's not into first person action games that it's worth sticking out the first like 7 hours to get to the title screen in Cyberpunk, man. Like, it's just not going to be something that people are going to be able to do. If you give it 5 hours and you're not clicking with it, and you're not like enthralled by the mystery of how to work through the puzzles and find the permanence to be able to like progress further on. Then I'm like, this might not be for you, because man, I can't imagine having to go through. I saw one review that said it took the reviewer 36 days before they finally found the 46th room, and I'm like, that is a lot of playtime. 36 days is a lot of playtime and a lot of RNG to dedicate this, because I think I'm only on like day 10 or 12, and I'm at 6 hours, and I'm like, okay, that's quite a lot of time. So I don't know, man.
I don't find that acceptable when people offer that argument. It gets really good after, 10 hours. It's not good. Like, no, I do not subscribe to that. Whereas my buddy Ains will die on that hill. And truly, that's a good difference of philosophy, that it's fun and useful to inform readers about. So there were 2 comments I wanted to spotlight. This one from Broke Boy Lewis, Broke Boy Insider, pardon me. Looping all the way back to South of Midnight, says, I played and finished and loved every minute of South of Midnight. Sure, the combat can get a little repetitive, but most games of this type are the same way. Good point. Again, I think part of it is my mindset that's an issue. And coming off of Shadows and Kazan, which just have immaculate combat. But I am enjoying the majority of the platforming I have, though I'm about to put up a clip on Blue Sky later today of just atrocious accommodation of platforming that I was upset with. And then I do
sounds like a skill issue to me, because
it's not. So that's actually the thing. When it's skill issue, fine. But if you create an aesthetic and you create a gameplay loop that is meant to be approachable and enjoyable, then you set your player up for the most minuscule of mistakes ruining it. For example, this girl can't get her ankles wet. Like that to me is not a skill issue. That's a design philosophy issue.
But have you seen the meme out there about how to tell whether or not there's a gator in the water down in Alabama? And if you want to find out if there's a gator in the water, you go up to the water, you crouch down low, you touch the water. If the water's wet, there's a gator in it.
There's a gator. Oh, gotcha. Well, good news, buddy. This clip's going to continue to showcase what I think is a frustrating design. And then there's some ledges that look near identical to ones that you can jump on that you can't jump on. To me, that's a design philosophy, not a skill issue. Because when I play, there are a lot of games I play that showcase skill issues for me. The best part about First Berserker Kazan's gameplay, after you beat the first mini boss, the Yeti, you can drop that bad boy down to easy, which is fantastic. So I want to point that one out. All right, let me read the other comment briefly. This one comes from Anubis316. Says, isn't it so cool that Xbox Game Pass Ultimate exists so we can play these games, and if we don't like it, we just uninstall. I love the low barrier to entry. You are absolutely correct, my friend. I fully endorse that philosophy because I have several games, thanks to Game Pass, that I'm looping back to. Atomfall just fixed its audio bug. Going to be playing that this weekend. Super excited about it.
Yeah.
Almost Done with Sniper Elite Resistance, which I play on full easy with X-ray kill cams maxed out because I love sniping. I don't really want to care about dying over and over in that game, and I don't care about achievements in it. I just want to play it. Eternal Strands, I'm so excited to get to and play.
Curious about that one, yeah.
I just want to play it, you know what I mean? And it's in Game Pass. Blueprints, for anybody that wants to, it's in Game Pass. So yes, fully appreciate that. And that, I think, helps negate some of my argument about Xbox's raising or lowering the bar, because they're giving you all these experiences. They did price South of Midnight appropriately, and it's in Game Pass. So not to be lost on that one. I will now call out Freight Conductor for calling me out or telling Luke to pay attention to a story that doesn't have someone in cape and tights. I love story in games. I get that that's the meme. I love playing games with capes and tights, but I don't necessarily.
Okay,
it's not
I have to defend Luke's honor here because I know for a fact this isn't always true.
Yeah.
Because if you look at Ninja Turtles, they do not have one tights or two capes.
I really thought you were going to be on my side because I do love story in games. I read books. Half the people, whatever.
I read books.
All right. While I read off our next super chat, and I'd like to spotlight our patrons, would you be so kind just now, Logan? And I was purposely waiting. Marathon previews are about to go live. would you be so kind as to pull some of those, look at those? We can use them later in the show. First, a $2.79 Canadian super chat from our boy Game Positive says Marathon. Check out Logan South of Midnight Review Marathon. Super excited for Marathon previews to launch. I also have thoughts on that game in general, which I will share once we get those previews. I want to also read our patrons. We forgot to do that last week with all of our tech issues, and Joseph Moran, comfortable shout out to him for coming out, supporting, and saving the show as my internet just was dying. We have had so many wonderful goals of late in helping us get to SGF. I put up 2 videos in the last month, one of me getting my Batman Crocs, which I will wear to the airport, one of me eating the pineapple pizza. Logan is now going to be playing Dead Space, possibly Resident Evil 7 if we can do that stretch goal. All of those supports we greatly appreciate, but the first big chunk of getting to SGF came from Patreon. And I do want to shout out our patrons who have chosen to support us at the tier 2 and 3 level, and then showcasing also the tier 1s as well. We just appreciate you. So a big thank you to our Patreon supporters titled Omen, Jesse Prius, Fado, Aaron G, Nick Bentley, The Scarecrow, Ken Rosing, Fabian Winkler, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Rob Frawley II, Tao Zochi, Nicholas Johnson, Randall Thor 19, Hafrican, Game Positive, Jampack Sam, Rick Davis, Matt Valdez, Red Beast, Dano 12, DJ Hero, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, and of course Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler. Thank you all for supporting XEP however you like. If financial ways aren't your jam, please just like and share. It means the world to us, helps us get to SGF, helps us negate a lot of these costs. Real talk, Logan's room and board covered, my flight covered, room and board I booked today almost covered. We are at 80%, so 74% of our overall goal, and then anything after that is just helping with Ubers and such. We're just grateful because it helps us out. We are appreciative of all of you. All right, Logan, while we continue to pull marathon stuff, I want to spotlight that Elder Scrolls Online has 2 new Xbox versions available now, has 2 major content releases coming in 2025. The first of which will be releasing and debuting on June 18th. This is Elder Scrolls Online. We consistently hear about this Elder Scrolls remake, remaster, showing up, showing out, being here, switch to this, that, the other, Nate the Hate. It's not here yet. Maybe it shows up this month, like some of those rumors. Maybe it shows up on June 18th, but Elder Scrolls Online still doing well. I just thought that was worth mentioning and talking about briefly.
Yeah, it's and so far I haven't been able to find any previews for Marathon. Not sure why those aren't popping up on SEOs yet, but it's also the fact that they called the game Marathon really stupid. I get it, but you know, when you do a little search on like Bing or something, you just say Marathon preview or Marathon game preview, they start talking to me about Olympics. And my brain already checks out, so they really could have like, you know, done something about this to help out. But the whole Elder Scrolls like remaster thing and whatnot is just, it's so wild. But it's interesting that we bring up the fact that they're going to be talking about like more content coming along, because it is like Sea of Thieves and Fallout 76, which recently this year had their Ghoul update. We don't really talk about like the updates that some of these kind of staples in the Xbox ecosystem have, and it's always interesting to me to kind of take a look and see like what's going to be coming down the pike for them, because I know like the communities themselves are obviously excited about them, but coverage for those don't always happen. And you know, with the Xbox showcase coming in, we typically like everyone's like, oh, okay, bathroom break whenever they start jumping into like, this is going to be the season of the worm cult, or this is season 16 of Sea of Thieves. You know, this is we're going to be bringing in you through the next things into Fallout 76 that are opening up a new zone. You know, and this is the stuff that we don't ever hear about. So I'm I'm hoping that with the Elder Scrolls Online, like the big content update, that it kind of showcases like, hey, these are still worth jumping into, and they're on Game Pass. We just talked about how good Game Pass is for low level or low barrier to entry when it comes to some of these games. And for all intents and purposes, for people that want like Elder Scrolls remakes out there, I get the nostalgia behind some of those games and the stories that they tell, but a lot of good story is in Elder Scrolls Online, and you can play that game for a large portion of it is just solo and not necessarily need to party up with people if you want that kind of a story. And it's all narrated too, which is wild.
Yeah. The marathon stuff must be happening on their Twitch channel, but the irony is that when I mentioned that, our viewers went down. It's like they're going to watch it, which is cool, but it did make me chuckle.
Well, little do they know, I've actually got it right here.
All right. Well, don't bring it. No, don't bring it up. It'll do the thing. It'll I'm just shaking my hand like I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? What is it? Copyright?
No, it's all games. Like they're not going to copyright us. Also, it doesn't have the audio, so we're good.
Oh, well, nonetheless, when they show some gameplay, if you want to pull that one, but that's not a thing you have to do live on air. Can I note while this was going on, I do not care one bit about Marathon right now. I think Bungie is a husk of what they once were.
Oh,
I have no confidence in Marathon. I don't even think it sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think telling somebody that, oh, it's Bungie that's making it is a good thing anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing to do with Sony taking over. It's that Destiny atrophied, all the talent left. Destiny lost people and didn't bring with it joy for a long time. And I'm just not interested in Marathon. And I'm saying all that before I've watched the game. And so I'm interested to see the game because cool. It says wishlist on all platforms. And this one, is this new footage we're seeing? Yeah. September 23rd, 2025 is when this game comes out. All right, cool. So
they're the first ones to really stake their flag in the ground in September, because everyone else has been very mum about the whole like, when's GTA coming? Because that's at this point we don't know when GTA 6 is coming, and to have them sit there and say like, no, we think we're good with September 23rd is very interesting. Marathon is definitely one of these ones that I think a lot of people are excited for because it is an extraction shooter. It is done by arguably one of the best first person shooter companies out there next to Call of Duty. And at this point, it looks like, watching the footage of this, it kind of just looks like it's going to feel a lot like a Destiny game, but just a completely PvP mode. So it'll be interesting, dude. This is one of those ones that has captured a lot of people's interest in this because they know the pedigree behind it.
So what we watched was live, right? Like
this is all live. This is going on right now.
Impressive. At least, again, it did not look good to me.
We didn't watch anyone hyping it up or explaining anything. We watched a bunch of like multicolored characters punching, stabbing, shooting, and holding up like digi shields to get to an extraction layer. So I think this is going to come down to what I think all of these extraction shooters is, which is how good is your team versus the other team, and what's going to do. It's a very interesting aesthetic style because it doesn't really fall within the norms of any kind of like realistic expectation. Like Destiny 2 has a theme and a feel to it because it's all grounded in a futuristic version of Earth. Halo, similar vein. This is out there. This is like, we're playing with action figures in a made up world, and they're not beholden to any kind of like expectations on what's going on. But they've got 4 men with a host, panel host here on the actual video. So it's got to be good because they got a bunch of dudes on stage in hoodies and ball caps talking about how great this game is.
So let me call out some of our chat because I think it's relevant here. Rick Davis, that's the same day as Borderlands 4. That September 23rd is the same day as Borderlands 4.
That game.
Rick thinks that's going to eat Borderlands 4 alive. And you have to wonder, with this being the first, or I guess technically second stake in the ground for the for the fall. You know,
I forgot about Borderlands 4.
I think a lot of people do. I really do. I'm not throwing shade. I think a lot of people do because
Play it on
they're
Switch too.
yeah. So now you've got Borderlands 4 and Marathon in there. You got to find a way to work Call of Duty in there. You got to find a way to work potentially something Gears of War related in there. You got to find a way to work. What is it? Take-Two's game, Grand Theft Auto. Take-Two's game, Grand Theft Auto in there. You got to find a way to work all these things in there. That's going to be very interesting because to many of the people in our chat's points, extraction shooters, they don't have the same weight. Nicholas Johnson saying they don't have the same impact as when they first came out. I agree. I agree with that one. I genuinely loved DMZ and Modern Warfare 3's Warzone suite. I loved that. I haven't gone back to it because we just moved on to other stuff. But I don't know that extraction is the jam. And I think I worry because just in looking at this showcase reveal right now on our screen, while I do not get Concord vibes, the characters are cooler than Concord. I worry that having an unknown level of IP will not be able to compete with the names that we just said, because Borderlands is a known name. Call of Duty is a known name. Gears of War is a known name. The IP that enters into Call of Duty and Fortnite and Marvel Rivals are all known quantities. So I worry about that for Marathon as it's trying to compete in this much, much bigger realm. But to go back all the way to the beginning of our show, the finals still exists.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like my argument that I've had for a long time is that people don't want to play a new IP. I think Marathon's the most interest I think I've seen a lot of people talk about when it comes to a AAA studio producing a new IP for fans, because at this point, there's been a lot of really good sevens out there in the last couple of years that are fresh IP for the industry, but nobody wants to play those because there's staples, there's free to play games that they're invested in, and taking a chance on some of these, unless they're in Game Pass, you know, most people probably won't jump into games like I mean, I kind of wish like Ghost of New Edens was in Game Pass, because I don't think it was, and it was something that definitely people should be jumping into, especially if you're enjoying something like South of Midnight. With Marathon, I think the honestly, the pedigree of the studio is going to be what's propping this up. If this was coming from EA, people would not care. In my
Even
opinion.
if it was good, because EA put out some good games that people just passed on. A good example being Wild Hearts in the Monster Hunter realm.
Titanfall.
Lacking the Titanfall, of course. Oh, Titanfall. So I hope that Marathon is playable at Summer Game Fest Play Days, because I would love to go hands-on and be able to say, you know what, guys, it may not have the name panache, because truly Marathon means nothing to the youth, right? Like, this game's before our time, truly. This is like Ainsley Bowden era. That sounded like a dunk. I'm okay with it. I realized as soon as I was like, that sounds mean. I'm all right with it. But
this
like,
is going to get everyone over in the old folks community.
That's right.
Riled
that's right.
up.
They're going to get out of their rockers and they're going to shake their fists.
Somebody's calling a nurse right now to get the channel changed over to Marathon.
I don't like this.
I want to know what the game is like. Sorry.
So, you know, whoa, Red Beast. Red Beast. Goodness gracious. Shout out to Red Beast gifting 50 Game Pass memberships. Logan, I don't know what that amounts to in terms of dollar to donuts without like breaking down and going behind the scenes. You're playing Resident Evil 7 though, I'll tell you that.
I don't know. I need a price on that one.
Oh, it makes me so happy. Thank you, Red Beast. You are incredible, my friend. Are the names? Oh my gosh, there's too many names. That's incredible, Red Beast. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Logan, when I'm off on summer break, when are you planning to do this?
So this was always the deal. If I was going to be if we were going to hit the stretch goal, I would be doing it shortly after our show. So today, I will.
You're doing this today.
Yeah, that was the whenever we hit it, I was going to be doing it that day, like afterwards. So if you guys want to see me suffer, then I'll be jumping in today. Probably get a break. Probably get something to drink.
Oh my
And then I'll be going live after this.
Now this better be a lights off event. Like lights are off.
It's during the day. Like, dude, do you
close
know?
The blinds.
The blinds are closed.
Okay. I'm just, I want to make sure we get the right aesthetic here. You know what I'm saying?
We're playing through it, but I mean, like, I'll be going today. Also, I'm on West Coast, buddy. It's gonna be like midnight before it gets dark over here. So
I gotta do some math here. I'm doing so. I gotta fill out the other half of this. Okay.
Yeah, you're working on that. So yeah, I will be playing later today. I'll be jumping on to do this, and I'll probably be setting this up through Streamlabs so that I can stream on both of our platforms. Just so that the VODs and stuff are there for folks, and I'll go ahead and pick up Resident Evil 7 and start playing through that. I will do an hour of that, and then we'll switch over to Dead Space, unless for some reason I actually start enjoying Resident Evil 7 and want to continue through that. I don't see that happening, but
it's a very good game. Truly, it's a very good game.
Oh yeah.
As long as you are not, because you got to, obviously you'll be talking to your audience and stuff.
Yeah.
I think you should set a time for this later today or whatever. But
yeah,
I will tell you, as long as you're not talking over the audio and you experience the moments, you will be able to appreciate the high quality, and you're going to be terrified. It's going to be great in a good way. Yeah. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't want you playing trash games, and I don't want you having a panic attack, but I'm okay with it. We are at 82% of our full funding, by the way. This is incredible. I can't believe we are 2 months out. I'm just so grateful.
Okay. Let's see.
Gosh, thank you, Red Beast.
There was a couple things that I wanted to shout out. Yeah. Okay. So as a Destiny abuse victim, I appreciate you, Freight Conductor. They will drain your wallet worse than Nintendo. Yes. Destiny Bungie is very good at fleecing their Destiny fans, and I'm very curious, like, what the monetization for Marathon is going to be, because I can absolutely see this being one of those games where they are going to be trying to like sell skins and gun skins and character skins and stuff like that. They're very, very good at doing that kind of thing. So I'm kind of wondering like how that's going to work out. Oh man. All right.
I'm so excited.
So right now it is 10:20 my time. I will probably go live at 1 p.m. my time, which should give me enough time to be able to get these games, get some
4
food.
4 p.m. Eastern?
4 p.m. Eastern. So
okay. Are you able to live stream it to the XEP channel?
Yeah, that's why I'm gonna same way that we set up our shows, I'm gonna set it up so that I can actually stream this. So we'll actually, I'll be going live. I'll say like 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'll boot up the streams, and anyone that wants to watch that whatever it's going to be, we'll do that. And that way I can play it, because I know folks are going to want to check out some stuff. Maybe go get some food.
I want it archived. We got to clip this into a short or two. Like, yes. Yeah,
I don't know about that. So, but yeah, I've had we've had some gameplay going up for Marathon, as we kind of been like talking about the playthroughs and stuff like that. Overall, like I gotta say, like Marathon has some interesting aesthetics. Like it is very, very unique. And as far as the game goes, the gunplay and the traversal look excellent. It look on par with what I expect out of Bungie. So I don't know that I'm necessarily like worried about that. But it's one of these things where I think a lot of it's going to come down to the actual gameplay, like whether or not it's actually fun. So I'm hoping with SGF, we actually get an opportunity, knowing that it's going to be in September. That gives us plenty of time to have like previews and stuff go up for it, and be able to actually like play with folks and actually get a chance to see like if this game's going to be worth it.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. We can go ahead and pull that one, the footage down, I think, as we move on. But I will acknowledge Nicholas Johnson's question. What's next? The next stretch goal on the road to SGF? I don't know. I never thought we'd get this far, if I'm being honest with you. Like, not trying to be flippant, but the generosity is I'm kind of taken aback. So I don't know. Brainstorm that at some point.
Well, so I've already thought of a few things.
I'm upset by your answer. Okay. All right.
And we have to do something for Luke this time, because the first one was Crocs for me. The second one was pineapple pizza for Luke. The next one is a spooky game for me.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one has to be for you.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think it's potentially gonna be a texture thing.
Oh no, that's okay. You can't activate the TISM. That's not fair.
Potentially something that's going to be a sound thing.
It's a hate crime. I don't like that. It's illegal in several countries.
But it could be, it's hard to say. But I think something like that, maybe we could figure something out. I think if anything, it would need to be something that you potentially have to do for Rick Davis says make him play in JRPG.
Claire Obscure is that?
No,
I didn't play that. No, okay.
No, that's a French RPG. That doesn't count. It would have to be like a. Oh God, what's the metaphor? Refantasio.
Oh, that sounds terrible. No,
something like that.
No, that's like 80 hours of rudeness.
Final Fantasy 16. Persona. So that's the problem with JRPGs is I'm not trying to commit you to something that's going to be a long thing. Like the Dead Space game is a shorter play style. Resident Evil 7 is a shorter play style. I'm trying to think of something that we would be able to do for you that I don't know that you would want to do. Which is why I always go to things
play
like
Mass Effect.
Play Mass Effect. God, you would hate Mass Effect 1. It's so dialogue driven.
I know.
Oh my God. You could jump into Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is actually a lot more action oriented, but man, forcing you to watch Mass Effect 1 would just be painful, I think. But there's definitely a lot of stuff. So we'll brainstorm things. So I'm always of the mindset that I think bleaching Luke's hair is always a fun idea. Like,
no. Like I could do like a temporary, like a day spray thing from. I'm doing that for my students, but no.
Skyrim, blonde-haired, adoring fan. I say we get the Luke lore kind of like, let's get the Vault Boy out in him.
Now wear a Vault Boy like shirt on the plane or something like.
On the plane, I don't know. Maybe at SGF. I feel like keeping it within like the realm of like, okay, you're a nerd in a nerd space. I'm not trying to get you beat up at the airport.
I'm a good fighter. That's. I will say the nerdism took me far in martial arts training. I've been in a lot of scraps.
See, he likes ninjas. It's not all just capes and tights.
Yeah. I actually really enjoyed sparring. I really miss it. All right. While they're brainstorming this wildness, I'm not wearing a jumper to the make me shave my eyebrows. You can't really see them, can you?
All right. They're already like him and Kev, same thing. But yeah, we're getting past.
I closed our window by accident. Let's see. Toys for Bob. So Toys for Bob. Let's talk about them briefly because I think they're an interesting topic here. Everybody consistently asks if Toys for Bob will make Banjo. No. They are working on an ambitious, that's hard to say, on an ambitious new title for Xbox based on an interview with Canadian guy on YouTube. They were interviewing co-studio head and creative director from Toys for Bob, Paul Yan, about what the team was working on. Heavily rumored that they're working on Spyro 4, but also an ambitious new title for Xbox. I don't know if this is the same. But they consistently spotlight that Xbox has been a great partner. He's on record as saying, we can all agree Banjo's been hibernating long enough. I kind of agree. I kind of don't. I think the best thing to happen, because even Phil Spencer 2 years ago acknowledged Banjo Kazooie, the best thing to happen would be for Banjo to show up in a game with other mascot IP. Like my belief is that Spyro 4 or whatever it is has Crash in it. A cool cameo from Banjo teasing the next game of a Banjo combined mascot project. Because truthfully, I don't think mascot platformers sell the way they once did. And they don't do what they once did unless you are mixing and molding. And I will cite the incredible Astrobot 2, or whatever the subtitle was.
We just call it
Astrobot.
Astrobot.
Sure.
There's they have games. Nobody really knows. There's Astrobot VR. There's Astrobot PlayStation 5, and then there's like the actual Astrobot.
Right. Yeah, whatever it was, an incredible title. I didn't see it doing the numbers that I think you would want it to do compared to like Mario, which is now considered to be an outlier of games. Like you can't compare Spyro to Mario in terms of sales. That's not a fair comparison. Mario does something special with Nintendo IP. So like truly, I would love to see Banjo, but I don't want to see a Banjo game because I don't think that would do well. It would only hurt interest in better quality games. So Toys for Bob specializes. I'd love to see the Spyro Crash game and have a Banjo, like cameo or something like that. Because there's a lot of platforming games and a lot of mascots that are worthy of fun titles, and I love a good platformer, but they don't do what they once did.
No, and I think that the goal there is that the people that grew up on those shifted over to other genres, and when we did have still like a fairly wide space of like mascot platformers, that was kind of more like the Xbox One, Xbox 360 kind of PlayStation 2 era. Where we were still getting a lot of those style of games. And because of that, I think that those people just kind of eventually moved on to different like first-person shooters, third-person action adventure games, and kind of moved away from platformers. I think platformers are still very valid in the game space. They may not do what they did, but I think that there's a lot of reasons for that. Astrobot being the one where that is an exclusive. So it's not going to be nearly as accessible as other games that are multi-platform. So I think as far as like Toys for Bob is concerned, I think Spyro hits a little bit different. But I think if you're going to do something with Banjo, then you kind of want to go back to the roots of what made Banjo, which was that kind of third-person action platformer through different worlds, and bring that back and just kind of like, because I mean we've even seen Donkey Kong now with the Bonanza is going more of like the third person platformer route with the open world setting that Mario Odyssey had, and that's kind of more the space. So I think if you can do that with Banjo, that'd be great. I would say keep it smaller in scope so we aren't like sitting here playing a 40, 50 hour game for Banjo. I don't know that justifies it, but Spyro is something that I think would be nice to actually see. We just got the remasters not too long ago, but I didn't see a whole lot of fervor around that. I think more people want a Banjo game, but I think those are the same people that wanted a Soul Reaver game. And
I heard that comparison you made.
Yeah. So like, I it's like, I hear a lot of people talking about the franchises that they're excited about, but do they actually show up when those actually hit? And is that enough? Because it's like when Soul Reavers 1 and 2 got remastered, everyone was like, we need to bring Soul Reaver back. And it's like, okay, cool. Soul Reaver's back. Did you play it? Or did you at least buy it? Because I don't know, man. I didn't. They even had like limited edition physical pre-orders for that and stuff, and I just didn't hear anyone talking about it. So I was like, okay, well, it's and I feel like Freight Conductor's coming in a good point here. New Splinter Cell, same mindset. Like everyone talks about wanting to have a new Splinter Cell. Go play Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's got the same kind of like hiding in the shadows from people kind of aspect to it. It's just not Sam Fisher doing his thing.
Logan, you got that Doug Bowser, Don Matrick energy. You want a new Splinter Cell? Well, we have a game for you. It's called Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, you want that experience that's available right now. It's just not Splinter Cell.
I do want to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say you can still want Splinter Cell, but I don't think that what people want is what would get made nowadays that would still invoke that same feeling, because it would they'd either realize just how clunky those games were back in the day,
right,
or it's just like they want quality of lives that aren't going to be are going to detract. So it's like you're never going to win with that audience. It's either too far of a departure, or if it's too true and there's not enough quality of life.
Mm-hmm. So Stormy Sea Dog said, do we think we are actually getting another Spyro game? I do. And then also said Spyro was in Skylanders and finished its story, right? I hope Skylanders makes a comeback. I would play the mess out of a Skylanders digital.
Oh my god.
I absolutely would. Those are just fun games to play. Like, turn your brain off, listen to a podcast or a show, and just play. I love that, man. I love that feeling.
Luke, I have a qualifying question here.
Yeah.
Didn't you buy a Rockstar guitar recently, like a PDP guitar?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's such a good product.
When was the last time you booted that up and used it?
Maybe a month or so ago, because it's like a with my wife thing.
Yeah.
But I love Rock Band. Rock Band is what it is. It's just dated, but I really enjoy it actually. And I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I also recently was back into Dead by Daylight and enjoying that. Like, I go back to things often. I don't fire and forget. That's not my jam usually.
Right. I think my stake here is that I'm saying, much like with the Nintendo GameCube controller, it'll be something that people will buy, play for a little bit, and then just put it back down. Okay. And I feel like that is the same thing. Like when and I think shout out to Ains from Season Gaming. Like he made this argument back when we found out about GoldenEye 007 coming to Rare Replay for Xbox, and how he's like, everyone's just going to pick this up, play for 10 minutes, and then put it back down. And I think that is the same mindset that I think a lot of folks have when it comes to these nostalgia grabs. Like, people are going to pick up a banjo and they're going to say they want a banjo. A banjo is going to come out. They're going to buy it. They're going to play it for 15 minutes. Remember that it's banjo, and then be done with it.
I will qualify as well. Anubis saying Toys to Life is a cool concept, but never again. I'm all about the digital version. I'm not saying I don't want more Toys to Life. I want that gameplay and those characters. Those are fun. And I enjoyed that with Starlink. I really liked that game. I do want to give a shout out to Engage Artist 207. I'm fairly sure I saw Engage Artist supporting Trophy Room the other day. So shout out to you. Yeah, they are thanking Red Beast for the gift. I love seeing that. That's amazing. So let's see here. All right, Logan. Let's see. Quick shout outs. We did do our marathon impressions. My buddy Joe is very excited in Discord about marathon, whereas I just was kind of meh, but not seeing it. Not seeing it with audio and stuff. Maybe
I think getting the full showcase and stuff like that, I think that's going to be really important, because they're talking a lot. And that to me shows that they're going deeper into the systems about why this game is going to be compelling. And with us not being able to actually listen to it, it's going to be really hard to just base it off of gameplay, because unless the aesthetics call to you, or the Bungie blood that's in there as far as gameplay goes, if you haven't played Destiny 2 in a while, you kind of forget how good they are at that. That makes me wonder, okay, well, how good is this going to actually be? So I'm going to reserve judgment on this until I get a chance to actually sit down and kind of watch through the stream and see the reasons why this extraction shooter is going to be better than any of the other ones that we've had in the past, because we've already seen other companies do plenty of their takes on this. Some are good, some are not so good. I think, what was the purely PvE extraction shooter that was it Ubisoft or was it EA that did, where it was the plague one, where it's you have to go and not step on any of the zombie plague stuff, and you have to go rescue someone, and then you have to leave, and it's it doesn't, I don't even remember.
It was a spin-off of something there. It was a Rainbow Six
extraction thing, but I can't remember what that was called. But we've seen so many takes on this that I want to try and get a gauge on what Bungie's version of this is going to be, because it feels like they have a good idea. It feels like they have the gameplay. The aesthetic is going to be polarizing, I think. But until I find out why this one is more than just a straight up extraction shooter, it'll be hard to understand why this one's going to stand out outside of other ones. It's kind of unfair that people are already playing this. Gosh darn it.
All right, let me quickly note, let's see, a marathon, switch to blah, blah. Xbox spring sales, kind of our kind of roundabout topic here as we finish up. The spring sale is not live yet. It was anticipated to go live on the 11th, but it's got a sneak preview up where some of the games are already on sale. Looking like Dragon Age is pretty heavily discounted down to around $40. Space Marines in there, Avatar's in there, COD is in there. Interesting to me is that they've got some good choices in there for anybody that wants to add to their backlog. Excuse me. But the full sale is not live. I want to call out a couple games just to say, hey, check these out because they're good or well priced. Yeah. The Middle Earth Shadow Bundle, fantastic, especially given that we probably won't get a Middle Earth game if you haven't played those. Gotham Knights Deluxe is a Luke Lore special. The Dying Light games are a good time. Dragon Age Veilguard, I want to play. That's on my backlog. I will definitely be checking that one out. Anubis said, why wouldn't we think the spring sale starts on Tuesday? Because we do think it starts the 15th or the 18th, but we thought it would start yesterday because it had some stuff labeled, but it's still in a sneak preview. That's why. My backlog, I'm going to be tackling that bad boy over this week of spring break for me because I want to finish South of Midnight. I really want to play some Atomfall because I really liked it until that audio bug, which I didn't expect to like it. And like Star Wars Outlaws, I haven't put the time into. And I guess after playing Assassin's Creed, I'm like, let me go back. I want to go back. But some decent stuff in there. And I'm curious if you're going to be adding to your backlog at all from this sale.
Not based on this, because I'm looking, they've got Avatar on here, got that. Banishers did that. Call of Duty did that. Dragon Age, I just picked it up on PS Plus, so I'm good there. Dying Light, not so much. Fear 3, not so much. Already have Gotham Knights. Already played through Hogwarts, have It Takes Two, Guardians of the Galaxy 1, Marvel vs. Capcom, not really my thing. Got Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Middle Earth I've already got, Mortal Kombat 1 I don't have, but I still want to play through 11. Ninja Gaiden 2 360 version, I'm not going back to the old version of that.
Gotcha.
Red Dead Redemption I've got, RoboCop, not going to bother.
Really loves that game.
Yeah,
I love Terminator Resistance, so like I do need to play that RoboCop game.
I stand by. This game does not look like it's that interesting.
Well,
South Park Snow Days didn't get the greatest reviews. Star Wars Outlaws, I'm holding off on. I'm gonna wait for that one when I have time and actually like have like a good sale on that one. System Shock Remake, I already have. Corey, I'm not interested in. Topspin, not interested. Trepang, I have no clue what that even is. Same thing with Undisputed.
Trepang, it's like a
Trepang.
It's like a Ghost Runner meets Doom. Very fast paced game. I think Red Bee skipped it to me. I need to play it.
I'm good on that one. Space Marine 2 already have, and WWE not really bothered. So even just the ones that they have, most of the stuff that is on here I already own. So I'm actually pretty good with this.
If we could put down Grounded and Rivals and Fortnite and COD, we'd be really.
I finished Grounded.
Problem. Did you
beat it? Yeah.
Did you find out that science thing you wanted to know?
I did. Yeah. Talked to Travis about it. Had a really good conversation. That is Grounded, hands down, one of the best survival games I've ever played. One of the best. Is probably like up there as my top survival game. Mm-hmm. They do stuff that I have not seen other companies do. Mm-hmm. And it's just it's wrapped in a better package. And I was just seeing the other day that Obsidian was doing an Avowed playthrough on Twitch. They got a PTR set up for Grounded. They're putting in more stuff. So
that's cool.
Really surprised, man. Grounded sleeper.
All right. Freight Conductor asks us, any word on when Space Marine's going to get its Horde mode? Have they put a date on that yet?
I haven't heard anything about that. Let me take a look.
You were a Space Marine fan, but you didn't stay in there.
Yeah, I got distracted with other stuff. Mostly because I was playing multiplayer games.
All right. Logan, I think that's, while you look that one up, I will just say one more time how appreciative I am of all the support. We are honored and appreciative, and thank you guys as we start to wind down here. If you haven't checked out the Batman or the Pineapple Pizza shorts, those are over on the YouTube channel. I did put stuff on Instagram, but like I don't use that one. I'm not good at that. So I just kind of let it happen. But I'm going to be playing some games this week, and I'm excited. And You are aiming to stream on our channel later today with some spooky stuff. But if you don't get to, or anyone can't catch you live, it'll be here. It'll live in this space. And we should be able to rock, right?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. If you don't catch it live, it'll be on the VOD in the live section.
Cool. So cool. All right, man. I'm going to say thank you to everybody for listening. Anything you want to spotlight before we exit, or where can people find you? All that stuff.
Xbox expansion pass is where I'll be streaming the spooky stuff. So later today, you guys can check that out. Keelhauled podcast is going up on Monday, where we have more stuff. I have conversations, or I have thoughts about the recent changes that they're making in the community management team, and what I think they really need to try and like emphasize versus not emphasize. So that on top of just like the state of the game and whatnot, and how people are doing. So just been playing that and running into folks, community members randomly on there and stealing their Fort of Fortunes, which is always fun. Outside of that, definitely going to be just doing normal stuff. So just kind of keep an eye out on socials. If you guys see us streaming live, or if you guys have any suggestions for the next stretch goal for funding for Summer Games Fest, getting very close to that. We're literally like maybe a little less than 2 months out now at this point, and just kind of looking forward to that. So that's going to do it for me.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys, that's going to be it for us. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Take care, everybody.
Bye.